What's new? It's Blue. Hey guys, so this week's video, Mirai, my wife, my queen, my sugar pie honey bunch. I love Mirai. I literally love her. She's so hot and she's so scary. Like, oh my gosh, Mirai, give me a chance, please. Moving on to the important news, surprise or jump scare. I've changed the plot again. So I did warn you guys that this world is still very up in the air. It's very undecided. I'm literally hammering it out as we go with these videos. These videos are actually helping me flesh it out a lot. The plot is what's undecided. Their personalities are pretty decided. Should those ever change? They most likely would not, but if those were to ever change, then that'd be like its own separate thing, you know. But the plot is the only thing that like changes. So their personalities and just them as characters are very firm. I won't just like suddenly axe out a character. The change isn't, even then the change itself isn't too crazy. I really just removed all the gang shit because, girl, I was struggling to find a way to make it make sense. Like, because I like my stories to make sense. Obviously things don't have to be realistic. None of my worlds are like super realistic or like true to life as we know it, but the gang thing, I was like, there's no feasible way that this could make sense, because even just the age range of the Sukeban girl gangs, the time, it was like before the time where I've said them, all the characters would be too old to be in those Sukeban gangs anyways, and even then the Sukeban gangs weren't like organized crime the way the Yakuza are. They were just like doing misdemeanors, so it would make no sense. Why the frick would a Yakuza like kingpin be like, okay, go watch those teenage girls for me? That'd be so bloody random. So I was like, this does not make sense. So I'm removing all the gang stuff. So the plot is basically the same. Everything I've said about Hika, everything I said about Fumi, basically the same. Just remove the gang elements, and I'll explain then the new stuff that I've then replaced the gang elements with in Mirai's video today. So yeah, I basically just removed all the gang shit and gave it a shoujo facelift. So now it's gone from like pretty like okay, gang mystery to like slice of life shoujo. Let's get right into it, guys. So to introduce the slightly revamped plot, Fumi comes up to the city from her aunt's house, where she moved back to the country after her parents had died and she went to stay with her other auntie, remember, Justin's mom, that whole thing. And she starts going to the same high school as Hikari because it's in the similar area. And also, again, because I think about these things too much, I decided that her auntie pays for an apartment for her in the city. And Fumi's neighbor is this girl called Yua. So keep Yua in mind. Her neighbor is Yua, and she starts going to the same high school as Hikari because it's in that area. So that hasn't changed. Know how they met, and also how Fumi was determined to be her friend. So Mirai would see Fumi in glimpses and briefly whenever she'd come to check on Hikari every day to make sure she got into like the driver's car to go home. So every day around the time when Hikari's classes would end or whatever extracurricular she was doing, and then she would get into the driver's car and go home, Mirai would check just to make sure that she was actually getting into the car, because Mirai, high-key, she's like a bit jobless, like jobless activities, but like, you know, I love her anyway. She's my little loser. So anyways, and she'd always wonder like who like the super bubbly girl hanging off of Hikari was, and she didn't necessarily think anything good about Fumi or anything bad either. It was just like, you know. So Mirai's whole like typical routine was like wake up, rot in bed, get up, do hair, go check on Hikari, wander around, go bother her brother at his campus, then go home and avoid her half sister, and then rot in bed again. Like girl, like when I tell you Mirai's not doing super well, like she's just going through a lot of things. Like it's a whole like growing up, adulting thing, like your brain is almost fully cooked, that whole dilemma. So that's Mirai's whole routine. So one day on her usual Hikari school run check, she sees Hikari leave early. And she follows her and she's like, because she sees her leave early with Fumi. So she follows her. And then eventually, like, she sees them and she's following them as they're walking into an unfamiliar area, an unfamiliar neighborhood. And Hikari starts to go into Fumi's apartment. And then Mirai is like, girl, why are you here? What is happening? And she, like, pipes up. And she's like, girl, what the fuck is going on? And then he goes like, no, actually, why are you following me? And then Mirai's like, oh, yeah. She was just fully following her. So he was like, you know what, no, because like, why are you following me? I don't have to explain anything to you. And then while they're like arguing and stuff, and like Fumi's just like watching, and she's like, so are we coming into my place or not, or what? Because she was just happy that she finally like got Hika like to come to a place so that she could show her some stuff, because she was busy yapping about something. She's like, oh, come to a place and I'll show you this, come to a place and I'll show you this. So in Fumi's mind, she's like, yes, I've just unlocked a friendship milestone. So Yua pokes her head out of her apartment, because her and Fumi are literally like neighbors, and Yua's kind of like a surrogate guardian or like an older sister figure for Fumi. Fumi never had any siblings, but Yua like very much like she really loves Fumi. Like Fumi's just very endearing, and she just, I don't know, Yua just feels the need to like take care of her and make sure she's fine and stuff. Like she'll bring her over food for dinner sometimes, or like make sure that she understands all her homework, cute stuff like that, very domestic. So Yua pokes her head out and she's like, can y'all keep it down, that'd be great. And then Mirai like kind of like looks over a bit shocked, because she wasn't expecting someone to be there. So you taking advantage of her like shockness, Hikari just grabs Fumi's hand and pulls her into the apartment and like slams the door in Mirai's face basically. And this cracks Yua up really bad, and she starts laughing. And Mirai's like, okay, alright, what are you laughing at? And like she's getting irritated because she has a bit of a short temper. So then like Yua like gives her a look, and then she's like, you know what, come with me, because she can see that Mirai is stressed and is like so jobless. Like, why are you following your sister around? Goodness gracious. This isn't like slander, by the way. This is like coming from a very loving place. So like she invites her to the roof of the apartment building. Again, don't question me on that. I'm sure that like in reality people aren't allowed to sit up on the roofs of whatever building, but I'm saying that's a thing because I'm thinking of the aesthetic potential. So yes. So she invites us up to the roof of the apartment building, and they basically share a cigarette because everyone has their vices, and a can of juice, mango juice specifically, because again I think too seriously about these things. So they talk and like Mirai slowly feels herself unwinding a little bit, and she just talks about like very lightly about how she feels listless, like she has nothing to do. And Yua's a very practical person. Like she doesn't beat around the bush. She's like, okay, then get a job. She's like, get a job, keep yourself busy, do something, girl. Like, hello, if you're feeling listless, then do something about it. Which basically is like, you know, take some ownership of your state, which fair enough. And Yua invites her to come volunteer at the shelter for children where she works with a couple of her friends. So the shelter is run by Yua's aunt. So she invites Mirai to come do this. So that's the new plot right now. This is mostly from Mirai's perspective, but so like that's Mirai's thing going on because she's out of school. She's 21, and Hikari and Fumi are still in school. So their thing, again, I really just took away all the gang shit and gave it like a shoujo facelift. So they have like you know, it's like slice of life, but also it's more introspective. I feel like it'll give me like lessening like insane plot points will give me more time to actually make it a very character driven show, you know, to make them like develop as people and to give them like little like sort of showing people growing in the mundane, because not everybody goes through like crazy life-changing altering events, you know. It's like it's the little moments that build and grow you as a person. So I want to use this world to sort of explore something like that if I ever were to do something with it. So no more gang shit. Their mom is now just a business kingpin, still neglectful. They're rich as hell though. So they all just get that good shoujo introspection and development. It's also just like a really quick tangent. As I'm recording this is before Kimi ni Todoke is coming out, the 3rd season, and I love Kimi ni Todoke. So I've just been in a shoujo mindset lately. So in honor of that, because I love shoujo anime so much, I will include a beach episode trademark, a fever episode trademark, a school festival episode trademark, and a summer trip with fireworks to top it off trademark, sitting under the sakura trademark, and a New Year's visit to a temple trademark, because I love shoujo tropes. I love shoujo. I love shoujo so much. Anyways, yeah, so that's like the plot right now, and I'm really glad I made it more slice of lifey, because the plot before just it never really felt right, and I feel like keeping it simple is the way to go with these characters, because I don't know, because their main thing is like how they grow and change as people with the friendships and bonds that they make. Like, that's what it is. So I'm really glad that I changed it. All of them learn from each other, you know. So actually, just as like a wee treat, I think I can like briefly talk to you guys about what the plot was before, because before, when I was still entertaining like the gang idea, I was like, okay, let me not say anything in case then it copies or like it spoils some of like what would happen now in the like revamped story. But now I've decided, since I've completely changed the whole like method that the story will be told in, I can talk about the old plot because it has little to no relevance at this point in time. So yeah, I think I can talk about it now. I feel like if I were to like do something with it, it would probably be a comic, because it's very slice of lifey. It's not necessarily like a kind of linear plot, you know. Like another thing would be like where there's like you know, build up, like rising action, like climax and whole thing. It's more just like we're looking into like a certain point in time of these characters and then just seeing how they're living, and then like whenever the comic would end, we'd just be tuning out and life just continues, you know, that kind of thing. So it's not necessarily a plot. Whereas before, when I first made the thing, so all of the Egamis, it was very similar. So Fumi, as I said, was like all emo and stuff. Fumi was like pretty closed off, and then Hikari was the one who was like, oh, like, oh my gosh, I want to be a friend, yeah, but she also like had a crush on her. And then Mirai was very overprotective, so like Mirai would always be like threatening Fumi, like, oh, if you hurt my sister, you're dead. No. Like it was just goofy. And like the half sister Ayame, like, oh yeah, her name is Ayame. And Ayame was like evil. She was like with another organization, ? And I remember like when Fumi was walking with Hikari at some point, Ayame came and like sliced Fumi's eye off, and it was like, okay. And then Fumi passed out, and then like Hikari was also able to fight. So it's like that, like at the time their family name was Aoi, so it's like then like the Aois were like secretly like fighters ? And like they took Fumi back to their house, and like instead of like taking her to a freaking hospital, they just gave her an eye patch, and they're like, sorry about that, queen. And like Mirai's older brother, or Mirai's like brother, her twin brother, had a crush on Fumi at the time, which looking back I'm like, ew, because their relationship is not like that at all now. It was just insane. And basically like the mom, like, so the mom went on like a killing spree. Should I even be saying like the K word on YouTube? Well, it's too late now. The mom went on like a killing spree and like killed Ayame's like mom, which was like the dad's mistress. And this makes so little sense. And the mom killed her husband and the husband's mistress while Ayame was in the room. So like just anime backstory like to the max. And like so Ayame is now seeking revenge on them. And then the mom went on and like started like dating this like lady who was like their family friend, but she was like her like true love when they were like teenagers. But then like the elders of the family, like the way that the family structure was set up, it was kind of like how like families in like Jujutsu Kaisen are set up. Like that whole like familial structure and hierarchy, it's like what the elders say is goes. So the elders were like, if you can't be gay. And then she was like, damn, alright, I won't be gay then. And then she married a man, and then she killed the man and his mistress. And then she's like, okay, I'm gonna be gay now since I'm a grown-ass woman that can do what I want. Which I hesitate to say slay, because you just like orphaned a child for no reason. But anyways, so, and then like Fumi basically learns how to fight, and like Mirai was just casually a yandere. And so in the end, there's a big fight between Mirai and Ayame, and Mirai kills Ayame. And it's supposed to be like some whole thing, and then Mirai dies too. I forget who kills Mirai. I really don't know. And that was like the plot for the longest time. And as you can tell, it sounds literally insane. It sounds like madness. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm sure you're listening to this right now like, what are you on about? So yeah, I just wanted to tell you that's what the plot was. So that compared to where we're at now, it's a huge glow up, huge upgrade. So I hope you guys can appreciate that with me. And moving swiftly along, let's now talk about Mirai as a character, just as a little girly pop. So yeah. Hello guys, Editing Blue here. I just wanted to pop in and explain the random video playing in the corner. That was me trying like the Subway Surfers method to help myself lock in, and it actually worked. So I was watching the first episode of Sign of Affection because I heard good things about it, and I mainly wanted to watch it because I saw that the main guy was very attractive. And it did help me lock in, but then I realized that it might be a bit distracting for you guys, so don't worry, it stops after the episode finishes. So it is really distracting actually looking back at it, so I'm sorry for that. I was trying something new. If you guys wouldn't mind it though, then let me know, I guess. And yeah, bye. So Miss Mirai, she is definitely my favorite of the whole bunch, and over the years I'm really glad that I've like made her more and more layered, and like she's become a lot more of a nuanced character. Originally, as I said before, when I was explaining the insane initial plot, I just made her because I wanted a yandere character, to be honest, and she was just casually a yandere. And like, it was after I had watched Future Diary or Mirai Nikki for the first time, and I saw Yuno Gasai, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so slay. She's literally like just a girl, but she kills people. That's like slay, that's slay. But she was that, but now she's a cringy fail girl, and I love that for her. So her full name is Mirai Egami. She's 5'9" and has dark brown hair, dark almost black eyes, and 2 beauty spots under her left eye. Just like an Egami thing, they all have some kind of beauty spots. They get it from their mom. Hikari has like 1 under her eye, Mirai has 2, and then their brother has like a bunch. He has like kind of freckles but on one side of his face. And she's 21. Her and her brother are twins, so their birthday is November 4th, and she's a Scorpio because Scorpio representation, yeah. And also she has like a big, like, not big, but she has like a back tattoo, and I gave her a back tattoo because hot girls have back tattoos. I don't know what to say to you because I love her, and she's beautiful, and she's like the love of my life. But anyways, anywho, as I've said before, I've definitely made her more fleshed out and complex. Before, she was like basically a villain, and the way she was with like Ayame, the half sister, was like comically villainous. Like, it was actually kind of funny. It was just goofy, but now it's way more nuanced. So now Mirai, just as a person, she's definitely someone who struggles to let go. She can be very listless in general, and she feels lost when she's not like honed in on something to like almost an obsessive degree. So like, it's like she struggles to like not be like 100% on things. If she's not 100% in, then she's like not in. You know, she doesn't do anything in halves. She can be quite intense, which then like kind of like freaks people out, and then makes her even more determined to hold on tightly, even when it's to her own detriment, you know. So she's like that with things, with hobbies, with people. So the moment she loses interest in something, she can't be asked to even pretend, you know, or to try. And like their mom, she really idolizes their mom, and she wants to become like a woman or someone who can like turn her mother's head for the first time, because like a prevalent memory of hers is of always seeing her mother's back. It's like she's never felt truly seen and acknowledged. So she wants to be someone who can make her mother like look at her and see her in a very like substantial way, you know. She wants to be acknowledged deep down. She just feels like unaffirmed. She feels lost. Like she kind of just feels like unremarkable. So because she feels like she doesn't like turn heads in like some kind of substantial way, she tries to like get attention or affirmation in other ways. It's like being whatever she thinks people want from her. So she's very much an analytical person. She'll like try and read people's minds, essentially, you know, that anxious attachment behavior, you know. She'll like try and anticipate what people want before they can say anything or before they like voice anything to her, whether that be purely physical or visual or romantic attentions, but they never quite make her feel like how she thinks they should feel. It's like trying to fill a void with air. It's like it's not doing anything. And like it's like a trying to like love or raise your self-esteem through the opinions and eyes of other people. It's like instead of you just like putting that time to cultivate yourself, you're like trying to cultivate other people's opinions of you instead of cultivating your own opinion of yourself. During her later parts of high school and then a bit of university, when she realized that, oh, people like tend to like the way that I look, especially, she like went through like this like whole thing of trying to like please everyone, but she would still remain unseen and unacknowledged, obviously, because those people weren't looking at her as a whole. They would reduce Mirai to one aspect of herself, whether that be her looks or how loyal she was or her smarts or her passion for something, right? Mirai is just someone who's trying to find herself, to be honest. After high school, she tried college, university, and her heart wasn't in it. She was trying to do like some basic bitch degree, like some business degree, and that's me slandering business degrees because I've had my experience with those and it's not fun. So that was me projecting a little bit. She tried and she was like, oh girl, I can't. Which is why she's now in her loser girl era, rotting in bed every day. Poor thing. So she tried to realize it wasn't for her, and now she's back home and staring at the walls that she's always stared at, and she feels like the world is leaving her behind. That's not true. A lot of her thoughts are very illogical, as most things tend to be, you know, but you can't really control how you feel sometimes. So whereas like Hikari, for example, expects a lot from herself, Mirai doesn't expect much from herself. She doesn't expect anything from herself because no one ever has. In her opinion, once again, it's like, this is all very internalized stuff. And it's very irrational, and she's a very emotional person, but she tries to hide that behind like a veneer of nonchalance, or like trying to seem like she doesn't care, or like, oh, you know, you can treat me however you want, you can say whatever you want, I'm not even gonna blink, you know, I can take anything, which is like, that's not a flex, girl. So I'd like to think the change from like an insane anime trademark TM plot to something more slice of lifey, like what I said, will give her a chance to undergo gradual change, because the problems or the self issues that she has is something that needs to be resolved gradually. The gradual change, and she'll be put in the position where she'll have to grow to value herself more and more and treat herself more gently, because being in like an unpredictable and new environment will make her realize, wait, I actually want to put myself through more beautiful experiences. And like from that going to, wait, I'm learning what I want as a person, you know. And her overall arc will be from like an early 20-something who's pondering life and existential purpose to someone who's tangible to themselves, because her main problem is that she just really doesn't know herself yet, and she hasn't made the effort to get to know herself, you know. It'll be Mirai spending time with Mirai, and she just needs to learn that sometimes you aren't your worst moments, and that those bad moments aren't things you can use as an excuse to tell yourself that people don't want you, that'll keep you in that dark place. She'll realize that like she owes it to herself to let herself want things. She doesn't need to have like a solid 12-step plan or dream that is what she wants to do. She doesn't need to like have one solid thing to direct her passion into. All she has to do is find just little things that she cares about to get her through the day, you know, something to direct her passion into, and that she doesn't have to like cling so tightly to things, you know, and that all she has to do is just like take things one thing at a time. And as she gets to know herself, she'll realize more and more what she likes, what she actually likes as a person, not what she thinks other people want her to like, what she actually likes. And even with her siblings, this thing of clinging a bit too hard, she does that with her siblings too. And they don't take advantage of her in any way. They understand her a lot more. But the clinging can be a bit frustrating to them anyways. And like, at first, she kind of resents her half-sister, because when they were younger, that like blind loyalty almost to their mother, even though the mom had flaws of her own, obviously she's a human being. It's like, because she could sense that her mother didn't like Ayame, she also didn't like Ayame, as an extension of her mom's like disdain. And like at first, that's why she disliked her for no valid reason really. And it's not like she would be actively mean to her. It was more like sort of like treating Ayame how her mom would treat her. It's like she would ignore her, she wouldn't acknowledge her. The few times Ayame would come and try to talk to her, she would just like, you know, be very cold. She was very cold towards her. And then eventually Aime just stopped trying because she's like, okay, all right. And she got along better with the other siblings, you know. And that was at first. And then she realizes, watching Aime interact with Hikari or hearing stories about Aime from Hikari and their brother, and she realizes that there's really nothing horrible or bad about her at all. There's literally no reason to dislike her, but she doesn't know how to approach her in any other way. And there's that thing of like, she doesn't know how to let go or how to adapt with change. She can be a bit inflexible. It's like, because she doesn't know how to like repair like the steps that she'd taken that got them to that point in their relationship, or lack thereof of a relationship, she kind of just leaves things as they are. She doesn't necessarily be cold to her, but now it's just more like a, we kind of pretend the other person doesn't exist kind of thing. So like, there's care there, but the relationship is like not tended to at all. Like, Mirai is just kind of like, she's someone who tends to feel like she always does the wrong thing. So in her mind, it's like, okay, if I can get away with just doing nothing, then I can't do the wrong thing if I'm not doing anything. It's like that, like, I've never been a natural, all I do is try type thing for my folklore people out there. So like, I imagine meeting Yua like literally puts her in a situation where like there's someone who she can't be anything but herself with, because Yua is like a very like straight-laced, deadpan person. Like, there's no sarcasm type thing with Yua. What you see and what she says is what she means and what you get. Okay, Dr. Seuss. But yeah, you are straightforward. Yua, if she says something, then she means that, you know. Meeting like Yua, that'll be like her first like bosom buddy, kindred spirit, who isn't really put off by her intensity. And I want their relationship to be very honest and very like straightforward, you know, and like not warped and uneven compared to Mirai's previous ones where they were like off balance or like one-dimensional. It allows Mirai to kind of unclench, because she doesn't have to strain to try and read someone's mind to then curate like, okay, how can I act like for Yua specifically to make sure that Yua likes me? Because Yua is like so hard to read, so it's kind of a thing of like, she has no like blueprint to go off of. So like, it's literally just like, it's like immersion therapy. It's like, she literally has nothing to go off of. Like, okay, if I act like this, Yua will like this, or Yua won't like this. She just has to be herself and deal with the consequences. And Yua's like good like exposure therapy in that regard. So I think that's pretty funny. And it's like a situation where like Mirai literally cannot mask, because like, okay girl, if I don't say something, or if I don't just act how like I'm wanting to just act off the cuff without, you know, planning 10 minutes in advance for it, then we're just gonna sit here in silence and stare at each other. So like, Mirai eventually is able to like not mask with Yua, and then she tries to extend that to the other relationships in her life, because then she ends up reaching a point where she's like, you know what, I owe it to myself to be honest with not only myself but with the other people in my life, you know, not to sort of make myself like this sort of like doll for people, you know, because not a lot of people know how Mirai actually is. And as like her and Yua get closer, and as Mirai learns like how to eventually read her, because it's not that Yua's unreadable, it's just that it takes a while to get to know her. Yua's a slow burn kind of person, which similar to Mirai, I guess it takes time for her to reach a point of like comfort with people. So they're well matched in that regard. And she reaches that point of closeness with Yua, and then the realization that she needs to be more honest with herself and others by showing up authentically. And she realizes that that need to change, to earn someone's love, affection, respect, etc. is not good, and she tries to stop doing that. Obviously she's a person, she's not perfect, but it is a big step for her just as a person in her development, and it helps with this feeling of lostness that she tends to have, poor thing. Like she just feels like she's just like not attached to anyone, like she's not even clear in her own mind's eye. And like, once she gets to know herself, and then once she gets to like show up as herself, and people don't shun her or turn away from her, it's like, while that internal affirmation is most important, affirmation from others is also nice. That just makes her feel even more confident to like show up as herself, so that even when she does have a scenario where someone maybe is a bit negative in response to her just being how she is, she doesn't like internalize that the way that she used to. She used to take everything personally. I like the idea of like paying homage to her yandere roots by giving her attachment issues. I think that's like the most normal way I can give a nod to that without just making her like insane. So she goes from the prickly wallflower into a protagonist of her own making, and she's more active in her own life and has finally gotten to know herself. So like their absent dad was a factor, but dude, those mommy issues were the main culprit. Those mommy issues fucked her up. My goodness, mommy issues are lethal, but I won't get into that. So Mirai just spends a lot of time with Yua and volunteering at the shelter. I'll talk more about the shelter as well, but the shelter is basically like for like kids in the area, kind of like a rec center, or like kids who don't have anywhere to go, like kids who aren't supported at home, so they can stay there, or some just come to like stay for a bit, and then the owners and the employees, they can help them like, you know, get sorted out with more permanent housing, you know, doing activities, speaking with them. So Mirai basically does that. She gets to put her energy into other people, and again with these kids, these youths, learning from them, they learn from her, and it teaches her a lot about the world around her. Because also similar to Hikari, Mirai was also a bit sheltered because, you know, they spend a lot of their life within a confined box, so just seeing different types of people from all walks of life, and it's out of her comfort zone, but in a very good way. And Mirai definitely brings some of that Egami funding to help build the shelter more and more. And because, you know, you have the money, you do something with it, and like using her hands and, you know, building something with her heart in her hand, she just finds a way to direct her energy in a constructive way. Just with herself, spending a lot of alone time, also with Yua, she feels a lot more grounded, and that's a feeling that she likes. She doesn't feel like listless, like she's a ghost. She feels more connected to just life in general, living in the mundane. She learns to appreciate that a lot more, and she's able to be more honest with people, even if she's a little bit clunky about it, and I love that for her because she's a sweetie pie. So yeah, that's Mirai as a person. And now let's head into some audience submissions. Woo! So into our audience submissions, we have a bunch of cute questions again this week. So starting with user vision/KN2YI asks, what's her relationship with her sister like? Brackets, also she looks like an absolute icon. 1, I know, right? She's so cool. Also 2, to answer the question, to Hikari, Mirai could sometimes be a very suffocating presence at times, but Mirai is definitely someone that she admired and someone that she could rely on. Hikari's whole thing is that she feels like there's not a lot of things in life that she can rely on, but Mirai is someone that she knows in her heart, no matter if all else fails, I have Mirai, and she knows that very resolutely, and she admires Mirai's passion, you know, and the ferocity that she puts into things that she loves. The malice kind of for their half sister and coldness that she like took on behalf of their mother, which like faded, you know, from like kind of like coldness to just avoidance from Hikari's perspective, like just watching as an outside party. And like, so that really made her feel conflicted about her sister. Also the hero worship of their mom at first, to now Mirai kind of just like she still tries to like not validate, but like sort of like make excuses for their mom, even to her own detriment. Even if it's something that genuinely hurt her, she'll try to like be like, oh no, but like maybe it was my fault, maybe it was da. And that makes Hikari very sad for her, because from Hikari's perspective, she's quite detached from everything regarding their mom. Like she kind of numbs herself a little bit to it, whereas Mirai still feels it all very deeply. So looking at Mirai just going through it makes her really sad, and especially during this phase of life that Mirai is in currently, Hikari realizing that she had to grow up and realize that her older sister is not just her older sister, but Mirai is her own person. She also tries to like be someone for her sister that she can rely on, instead of just kind of the more passive role that she'd taken inadvertently in their relationship, you know, just like sort of letting Mirai pour into her and never really giving that back. So she starts to like, you know, try and be there for Mirai more, you know, like if Mirai is concerned about something, not sort of like be like, oh my gosh, shut up, that, you know, but like trying to understand where she's coming from, checking in on her, making sure that she's fine. Once she starts volunteering more, ensuring that she's in the right headspace, that kind of thing. So that's their dynamic, and I think it's very layered, it's very sweet, and I love them as siblings. I love exploring sibling dynamics. Next question. User Meow MYAAWHH. I'm assuming it's like some kind of like meow. But either way, they asked, does she have any specific style inspo / did you base her off of someone while making her? So she kind of has like a baddie Y2K style question mark. I don't know what to call it, but like she's not inspired by any specific person. It's more this again general vibe. So I hope that answers the question a little bit. User Blorp2031 asked, what is her biggest character flaw? Also, what is her least favorite food and why? So like I said earlier, she struggles to let go of things, whether that be internalized perceptions, ways of being, and even if something is to her own detriment, if it's just how she's been doing things, she struggles to let go of things. You know, she's kind of used to the chaos, so she can be quite a rigid person. And her least favorite food is probably natto, and she doesn't like avocado on anything. The textures throw her off and like make her skin crawl. Now, like, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, is Mirai like autistic coded? I didn't even mean to do that like on purpose, oh my goodness. But that'd be quite interesting actually, because a big part of her character is like the whole masking thing. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Do you think Mirai is autistic? Sound off. Anyways, I hope that answered your question. Yes. And kind of like the opposite side of that question, user your.fave.swifty.ts asked, what is her favorite food and what is a phobia of hers? So her favorite food is chicken katsudon, and a phobia of hers is sharp objects. She just doesn't like the look of them. They make her skin crawl if she focuses on them for too long. Yeah. So next question, 2 people actually asked a similar question. So user Zimu24 and Shyv_ here. I'm not sure if it's Shyv or Shyvi. I don't know, because that's just how I enunciate things. So I hope I pronounced your username right. They both asked a similar question, which was, what does she want to do in the future / what is her like dream job? So before I mentioned, she's a very listless person, especially at this stage of life. And like she's just been in like a kind of block for such a long time, or for a while, a couple of months up to a year type thing, ever since she dropped out of school. Even when she was in school, she was just like feeling, it took a lot for her to come to her mom and be like, listen, I can't do this. Because like she would never like voluntarily do anything that she knows her mom wouldn't like, unless it was like something that was genuinely like destroying her mental health. So it took a lot for her to get to that point where she was like, girl, I can't do this anymore. So she spent so much time trying to cater to others and her mother that she never actually thought of what she wants to do for real. So like again, her arc, getting to know herself, she really doesn't know what she'd want to do in the future. But she does know she wants to do something that makes her like be more active, that makes her participate more, like that kind of thing, you know. And like, yeah, so I feel like it's also realizing that like you don't have to have one big passion. You can have many big passions in your life. So that's Mirai's whole thing. Next question, user unknown_brainrot asked, what's her favorite piece of media and her favorite character in said media? So Mirai is like an undercover like anime fan. I feel like she wouldn't really mention it, but I just thought that would be funny because looking at her you wouldn't guess that, but she loves the Ghibli movie Whisper of the Heart, and it came out around the time where like they're based. It's a 90s Ghibli movie, And like the movie just really tugs on her heartstrings, the whole thing of how you'll only know if you can do something if you try, and that everyone, like, we're all works in progresses, and like you have to put time in and put effort into yourself to cultivate whatever passion is hiding inside of you. And like I imagine that movie makes her cry every time. She's a little Ghibli shoujo fangirl for sure. And her favorite character from the movie was Shizuku, who also had to take that leap of faith with her passions even when she was scared. Hope that answers that question. And going on to the last question of the audience submissions, one of my moots on TikTok, user apple.xii or JJ, asked, what is your favorite genre of music? So she loves pop. Marina is also an artist that her playlist is full of, so like I think it's kind of cute like if her and Hikari sort of have overlappings in their music, because it'll be like she kind of influenced Hikari when they were younger too. So she loves pop, Marina, Kim Petras, and then if I'm looking at like a 90s artist, so like time specific that she'd love, Mazzy Star for sure, The Smiths, Jeff Buckley, yeah. So yeah, those are the audience submissions. Thank you guys again for sending in your questions. I love the question segment. It's so fun. It's so interesting seeing what kind of questions that people cook up. And it helps me flesh out my beloveds even more. So thank you guys for the questions. And now let's go into the outro. So that was today's video. I hope you guys liked it. Here's her introduction like page, you know, with her whole design and everything. I love it very much. Her design also doesn't ever change too much, just maybe how I draw it. She's always had bangs and long hair. I just made them like more micro bangs as the years have gone, because I don't know, that's just cutty to me, but yeah. And also the meme to describe her, which I think is pretty funny, very accurate. She's fighting those inner demons, you know, but she's working on it and she's doing a pretty great job, so I love her very much. So that was today's video. I really hope you guys liked it, and next week's video, I already dropped her name throughout this video, will be Ayame, the half sister. So she's very interesting as well. I quite like her. So now we're kind of nearing the end of the mains, and I'll make a video like compiling all the side characters. As always, I'm going to open the community post where you can drop your questions about Ayame the day after this video comes out. So yes, and I hope you liked Mirai. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. As always, if you like this video, feel free to like this video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads from me, whether that be videos, community posts, or shorts. And you can also follow me on my TikTok and Instagram. I post resources over there, and in the description of my videos you can find more resources for the current ongoings in our world. So yay! And as always, thank you guys so much for just all the support and everything. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye!